So the festival's theme is the art and science of well-being. And we deliberately chose the theme well-being because it's much more than just health. We're taking a global, a holistic view of how we live, the environments in which we live, and got some great minds at the table. We should just acknowledge some of the people who've come together here. Right at the beginning, we had a meeting where Peter Doherty, Rob Moody, Nicholas Gruen, and Phil Batteram, who's been very helpful to the process of developing this festival of ideas, and talking about and really brainstorming how we should actually conceive of bringing health, science, the arts together to actually talk about important ideas in their context. And Fiona particularly has spent her life thinking about how to put evidence into action. Fiona was one of the pioneers of folate supplementation before you could become pregnant to prevent spina bifida, neural tube defects. From the time that it was known that that had an effect and should be used, folate supplementation in the food supply, not just taking folate supplements, that you should actually do it passively so that people took it without having to think about it, 10 years was roughly, 9 or 10 years was what it took. It takes, and that's actually short. To actually get evidence into action can take 15 or 20 years. Aspirin in heart disease, to prevent heart disease, known for 25 years that it actually had a benefit before doctors started using it. We know what the story is with climate change. David Carroll is going to talk in a moment or two about some of the challenges in getting the scientific debate out there into the political debate. But the challenge is we know often what to do, but what is the barrier between knowing and doing? And if anything is the theme of the Festival of Ideas, that is it. So it's about facts, not just about facts. It's about knowledge, not just about knowledge. And it's about how to put into action. Glyn Davis also referred to the last day of the meeting, last day of the festival, which I'll talk about in a moment. So the first day of the Festival of Ideas is about environments. The environments in which we live. How can it be sustainable in a post-carbon world? What about the place that we live? What about our cities? And we've got some fantastic speakers from here and overseas. And we're trying each night or afternoon of the festival to actually have an event of some kind which brings together the ideas either in a serious way or lighthearted. Food and nutrition, how do we actually feed the planet? How do we actually feed ourselves and stop overfeeding ourselves? And my colleague from the ABC, Julian Morrow, will be sharing a debate about are we manufacturing allergies? And how do we actually develop a love for seasonal fresh food and get our kids to actually like it as well? Families, a topic close to Fiona's heart. She spent her life researching about how to actually, the science behind families. That's significantly what her institute that she used to head in Western Australia was devoted to. Families and culture in a developing world, in a changing world, I should say. Are we medicalizing normality with all these labels we give our children? And Kathy Lett will be running what should prove to be a great session called the Asparagus Syndrome. I'm not quite sure where she's putting the asparagus, but I'm told she's grown up a bit, so we'll see. The next day is Brain and Minds, which I'm chairing. The group that's behind this, in significant part from the Florey Institute. Fred Mendelssohn's here. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. What are the gender differences in the brains? We've got a lot of fascinating material on neuroscience and the crossover between the brain, mind, and culture. And our last day of the meeting, which I'm co-chairing with Anna Rose, is on democracy. How come we know stuff and it doesn't actually get through to action and political action? What are the barriers? There are so many vested interests. Gerald Reckler, who's going to be speaking in a moment from Vic Health, knows well that of what's called the SCREAM test. So the SCREAM test is that if you've actually got a public policy you're promoting for health and well-being, and the vested interests scream, you know you're hitting the mark. You've got absolutely the right policy. And of course, they're screaming loud about plain packaging for cigarettes and trying very hard through the court system and lobbying to stop that spreading from Australia. But we know what the facts are about climate change. We know a lot of things. Is democracy dysfunctional that we actually can't get knowledge into action? Jane Smith is here from the Museum of Australian Democracy in Ballarat, the new museum. She will be speaking on that day. Mark Scott will be talking about the influence of the media. And what we are aiming to do, building on each day of the Festival of Ideas, is building a manifesto for change. What are the key ideas that come out of each day? It's not just random presentations. It's about bringing a coherent set of ideas together at the end of the Festival Ideas, and how that might influence the democratic project. For those of you who were listening to me on Late Night Live last week would have heard Francis Fukuyama, a neocon, talking about the end of democracy and how global transnational corporations are seeing the end of democracy as we speak. I thought I was talking to some Trotskyist, not Francis Fukuyama. And the next day I had Susan George on, who was saying the same thing. And I confronted her with the fact that she was in the same bed, so to speak, as Francis Fukuyama. She got very uncomfortable with that notion. But what is the future of democracy in this world? This is a really important conversation to be having, and that is the build of each day of this Festival Ideas. And today, you are part of that build, because today is going to contribute. We're going to contribute to that idea. And out of tonight, we're going to, I should mention just before I go on, is the complementary program. We're not calling it the Fringe Festival, but it's kind of a Fringe Festival. Phil Badram's been very significantly involved in this. It's about unleashing the potential of students and young people and the community as a whole throughout the city of Melbourne, not just on the campus. And so the Festival of Ideas will be a citywide project, a citywide set of activities which will be rich and involved. And we're very grateful to the students who've been involved in the planning process leading to this. So as I say, tonight is your first opportunity to engage in this conversation. And what we've got are several speakers to talk about some of the challenges in different areas, in different areas. And what we're going to ask you to do towards the end is vote on which of the presenters, and we've kind of steeled them to disappointment. Which of the presenters' propositions are the ones that is the one that, and you're only going to be able to vote on one, that you think is the most salient in terms of the future of democracy to move forward into the final day, and we'll bring that, we'll put that on the table.